Motorhead Garage, the program that each week introduces you to and shows you how to install the latest and exciting and innovative products for your vehicle. Motorhead Garage is presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. Now here's your host, Dave Dobson.
Welcome to Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. This is the AP Lazer. You've probably seen it before on the show. Working hard for us, doing a pretty cool project right now. We got lots of great things to show you, things the AP Lazer can do. Automotive stuff, of course, because this is Motorhead Garage. Now, Jenny, you've been at this for a long time. How'd you get started in the printing business?
Well, I actually started as a screen printer several years ago, and every year we have expanded the business to embroidery, to some vinyl, just looking for something else. And so we started looking at laser engraving and found the AP Lazer.
And so when it was time to upgrade, you had a lot of lasers to choose from. Yes. What made you decide on the AP Lazer over the other lasers that are out there?
There were a few different factors. I really liked the sales representative that I dealt with. Shannon at AP Lazer was fabulous. She spent a lot of quality time with me, allowed me to actually come in and test all the machines and make sure that I enjoyed them. The open architecture means that there is nothing on the underside, which is very unique and patented for AP Lazer. So you can do a lot of different substrates, you can do a lot of different sizes, which for me was a huge benefit. And I like the fact that they have 24/7 customer support. That was huge for me being new. I wanted to know that I was going to have the help when I needed it. And I went with the smaller machine simply because of the portability standpoint on it. We have an enclosed trailer. We like to go to events and make things on site to order. And so I needed something that I could pick up and load into a trailer and put in my car and go back and forth and have that flexibility.
And in doing that, you catered to a motorcycle crowd recently, right?
I do, yeah. So we've done some motorcycle shows. We do Jeep shows. So we're looking at getting into some car shows, and we just kind of keep expanding the horizon of the different types of shows that we go to. We've done some hunting and fishing shows. So again, even the hunters and fishermen, there's some different things that we can engrave on for them as well.
So I'm curious, what kind of stuff did you engrave for the biker folks?
When we were there, we had the ability to engrave on leathers. Oh. We did some keychains. We actually did some tumblers, some can koozies for them, but hoping to kind of expand that, maybe even do some engraving on their gas tanks.
Neat. So not just stuff pertaining to bikes and cars, but also some actual parts too, which
absolutely,
we've seen a lot of folks do. And here are some car parts as well. I see a couple familiar pieces.
Yeah, so these are just some glove box fronts. So if somebody wants to customize a glove box, we did those, for our friends at jacknuts.com. And so we've been able to do some of that kind of stuff.
There are all kinds of materials in cars, and that gives the AP Lazer an advantage because it's so flexible. What kinds of materials can you engrave?
Absolutely. So, we've done some leather. Obviously here, leather coasters are nice. We've got the coated steels for the license plate covers. We've done, trophies, again, more leather. Even the stainless steel on the tumblers, the bottom, that little tumbler boot there is made out of a silicone. So really there's a wide array of things that we can actually engrave on.
What are some of the stranger things you've ever had to engrave?
Well, we did this fleece blanket, which I think is very unique, not necessarily strange, but fleece is kind of a unique thing to engrave on. We've actually done a tombstone, which was kind of a cool project for a military veteran. And just a big array of things.
Were you telling me about a pie?
Oh, I did. Yeah, I did a pumpkin pie one time, just trying to see what I could do. So did the top of a pumpkin pie, and that was pretty cool.
So everything from a stone, and you can turn right around and do a blanket or a pie.
Absolutely.
What gives you that flexibility with AP Lazer?
I think a lot of it is the open platform, the open architecture of the AP Lazer, and just being able to adjust it. The four legs on all corners so that I can adjust if I've got even a stone in the front yard. If somebody wanted a stone done, I can adjust those legs and get it on that stone and do the stone. I'd love to do a hood of a car sometime. I think that'd be really cool. I just haven't had that opportunity or found the right car yet, but that would be cool.
And how do you know what settings to use with your laser?
A lot of it's trial and error. There's a baseline setting for each machine and the power that it puts off. But a lot of it is trial and error and just figuring out what's going to work.
But if you can't figure it out, What resources do you have?
I can call tech support 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, literally 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I've called them the first year I had the machine at 10:30 Christmas Eve night. Somebody picked up the phone, walked me through it, allowed me to get the project out and deliver it to the customer's doorstep so they had it for Christmas morning.
Wow. How helpful are they at the customer support for?
They're very much so. You know, when I first started, it was something new for me, completely different platform than what I was used to. And I would call them with what I thought were the silliest questions, but they were very helpful in walking me through it and getting me going on the right direction. And you know, I've never had an issue calling customer support and asking for that help. If you get their voicemail, they're pretty good about calling you back within about an hour, depending on what their call volume is at that time, and it's wonderful.
And I've seen they also have a Facebook user group.
Yep.
How much do you use that?
You know, I read through the posts, and a lot of times somebody new will be posting something, and even we can comment on it to help someone. So not necessarily does it have to come from AP Lazer. A lot of times they do pipe in and give some insight as well, but it's kind of nice when you can bounce ideas off of other people that are running the same equipment as you are.
Well, thank you, Jenny. There's obviously all kinds of things we can do with the AP Lazer, and it's only limited by your imagination. Now, check out this American flag. This is going to look awesome once we wipe it down. You can do all kinds of personalization, car stuff, other stuff. Check them out at aplazer.com/TV. There's a special discount for Motorhead Garage viewers. This is Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, and we'll be right back.
Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, is brought to you by RockAuto.com. All the parts your car will ever need. Raptor Blasting Systems, heavy-duty industrial sandblasting cabinets that work as hard as you do. Magic Creeper, the most versatile creeper ever. And by Oil Undercoating, the official oil-based rust prevention system.
Welcome back to Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. Now, we've got an exciting neighbor to the north. They're called TDOT Performance, and you may not know them, but they're making inroads in the United States. Varun joins us from Toronto. And Varun, tell us about TDOT, because we here in the U.S. aren't real familiar with it.
TDOT Performance started in Toronto, Canada, TDOT being the short form for our city, TDOT. We started 12 years ago, and the idea was basically to provide the consumer, the enthusiast, the automotive gearhead with an all-in-one price straight to their door with no brokerage, no duties and custom fees on their invoice. We spent about a year perfecting this logistics solution to pick up in the US and deliver straight to our client so that there were no unexpected fees at the door, which was a very, very, very common issue. You never know if you were going to pay $20 in door fees or $105 in door fees, because the general consumer is not aware of tariffs, brokerage, and duty costs. And depending on which shipper the parts manufacturer would ship coming out of the US, those broker fees were also different. So there was really no way for the consumer to know their exact cost of goods. And now I think we have 300 or 400 full lines on the website, including on automotivestuff.com, which is in the US, which is basically a carbon copy of TDOT, but it's for the Americans. And we've got 300 or 400 lines in total, and we have access to another 300 or 400 by email, which our sales staff will always be able to give pricing and ETAs on a one-to-one basis, even if they're not listed on the website.
Automotivestuff.com is a great idea because folks just want to hot rod their cars. They don't want to spend time on paperwork and calculating tariffs and all that stuff. So you've taken care of that problem.
That's it, totally. And, you know, with the situation that we've been in over the last 12 months, with people spending a lot more time at home, obviously, during lockdown periods, and getting back to DIY projects like your house or your swimming pool or your car, we just find there are a lot more people searching for stuff online all over the world. They want it delivered to their door because now your lunch break is 1 hour, but it only really takes 10 minutes to eat. So you get an extra 4 or 5 hours a week to concentrate on stuff that you love to do in the comfort of your home, you know, in most situations. So it's been a great year, and we hope to see continued growth and people spending their spare time doing what they love to do. And online shopping seems to be one of those things.
And you're surely striking while the iron is hot. And for folks that are discovering automotivestuff.com for the first time, you mentioned the big catalog that you have. What are some of the featured brands they're going to find when they go there?
The first category, which every gearhead talks about, whether you're driving a truck, an SUV, or a sports car or a race car, exhaust systems tend to be many people's first go-to modification. So one of the brands we've been working with, which is a local Canadian brand that's about an hour north of us, is MBRP Exhaust Systems. They've come a really long way in the last 5 years with the way they've developed the products, robotics. Even their packaging is just on a different level now. And we've been very proud to sell a Canadian product all over North America and really help with promoting that brand locally and internationally. From the exhaust side of things, I'd like to mention MBRP, MagnaFlow, etc. On the braking side of things, which is also something that every gearhead has to worry about, is taking care of their brakes, and it tends to be something that people do at home also. So we ship a lot of pads and rotors directly to the door of the client or the mechanic shop of choice. Is a brand called EBC. We deal with them very, very often, and Americans tend to love it. So we're definitely doing a lot of marketing with EBC in the US on automotive stuff and on TDOT Performance.
And performance is in your name, so then you start talking air intakes, and that's AFE is one of your brands that you sell as well.
Exactly. Air intake is another very, very simple installation that we find 80 or 90% of people buying them are doing these themselves at home. It usually consists of a couple straps, a couple gear clamps, and a few 10 or 12 mil bolts, and the job's usually done within an hour or so. AFE tends to be an industry leader. They make something that's probably better than what most OEs supply with the car. You get a little bit of sound, you get a little bit of performance. So people tend to really enjoy intakes. It's a fun, quick mod that doesn't take much, and every 16-year-old that likes cars gets one for their first car.
And something folks are really going to like here, the Sprint Booster. Throttle response. Now that there's fly-by-wire throttle response can be an issue, but Sprint Booster remedies that. So why do you like them so much?
Traditionally, it's a 1-to-1 ratio, so you apply X amount and you get instantly X amount of throttle response at the throttle body. And unfortunately for gearheads like myself, that direct 1-to-1 connection has been lost over the last, I want to say 15 years ago. Everybody started switching over to a sensor-based system where there was a sensor at the foot and there was a sensor at the throttle body, which would open as a ratio of how much throttle you applied. And unfortunately with that direct throttle response was lost. There tends to be a lag and a delay in the response of the engine. And especially with heavier vehicles, you feel it even more. So Bolicos Dynamics out of Greece came up with this amazing product. And we have done very well with Sprint Booster all across North America because it's a seamless product, never fails, 10 to 15 minute installation on almost every vehicle. We even have dealerships now installing them because it really wakes up the car. And there's just unbelievable amount of information on YouTube as well about how people have transformed the way the car feels with an adjustable switch that installs anywhere on your dashboard within 1 or 2 minutes. They've got 18 settings to choose how aggressive, or in fact, the new Sprint Booster, you can actually turn off the throttle completely and put it into like an anti-theft mode so that if somebody starts the car, the throttle pedal is actually totally dead if you would like to use it like that.
TDOT Performance out of Canada is now offering its products to the United States at automotivestuff.com. Go check them out. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings right after this.
Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, coming to you from Borla Commerce Park.
Welcome back to Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. Now, if you're like me, you have trouble organizing your tools or keeping them in the same place. I have kids running around everywhere, so I can't keep track of them. I've tried everything to organize my toolbox, and nothing has worked until now because I have found Tool Lodge. And Melinda Young, you invented Tool Lodge. How did you come up with the idea?
Well, necessity is the mother of invention, and I was tasked to organize a garage, and I ran across the tool chest, and it was so disorganized that I started looking at ways to organize tool chests and found that it was difficult, that you had to trace around your tools and then cut foam with a razor knife. So I decided there needed to be an easier way. So I invented Tool Lodge. Tool Lodge is an easy way because you don't have to ever cut. It's custom made to fit your drawer, and then you lay out the tools the way you want them simply by pressing or tapping them in to make permanent impressions for storing them.
It couldn't be simpler. Who are your primary clientele?
So far, we've had a big response from aerospace and automotive manufacturers because they understand the efficiency and the benefits of having tools organized, having every tool in a place that people know where it is. It prevents losing tools. Also, in the aerospace industry especially, they're very concerned with FOD, or foreign object damage. You know, one socket left in the wrong place can have devastating consequences.
Absolutely, it becomes a safety issue. And of course, when you're a mechanic, time is money, so you want to know where your tools are at all times.
Exactly.
What kind of feedback do you get from folks who see Tool Lodge for the first time?
Well, they are amazed that it's so easy, and inclined also to value organization then when it's easy. I think the challenge for most people is getting a system in place that they can use and get used to. But I think people's first reactions most of the time is, wow, why hasn't this been invented before?
And tell me how the installation works. How do I use Tool Lodge?
The first step is to measure your drawer. It's custom made to fit the drawer that is in your toolbox that you want to arrange, or multiple. And make sure that you account for any internal rivets, tabs, or screws. And then round down to the 1/8 of an inch. Our website allows you to order a specific size that you want. Once you get it, that's when the fun begins. You get to lay the tools out. I like to do it in a drawer, like pull the drawer out of the tool chest and lay them out the way that I want them in the drawer, and then one at a time transfer them over to the Tool Lodge, pressing them and making indentations as I go.
Now we have the blue ones here. Are there other colors available as well?
We also offer a black. Samples are available on our website, and they're about 8 by 10. All Tool Lodges run about 7/8 of an inch thick, and they work best in drawers that are about 2 to 4 inches total clearance. The sizes range from about as small as you'd like, 7 by 7, all the way up to 45 by 27 inches. So it covers a good sized drawer. If your drawer happens to be wider or deeper than the 45 inches, you can use 2 units side by side, and they'll just fit right in.
Well, as you can see, our toolbox here needs a little bit of help, but Tool Lodge can make it a whole lot better, and they can make your toolbox a whole lot more organized. Check them out at toollodge.com, and a special promo is available for Motorhead Garage viewers, promo code Motorhead when you go to their website. We shall return with more Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings right after this.
Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, is brought to you by Magic Creeper, the most versatile creeper ever. Blessed Performance, built by the grace of God. Specialty Performance Vehicles, your specialty vehicle and parts store for your performance and off-road vehicles. And by Tribotex, make your engine last longer. Time now for the lowdown with Magic Creeper.
Now here's some real-world experience from our friends here at Magic Creeper. Now, this is the Dobson family truckster here. This is the real deal. And we had a cut tire coming into the studio today, so had to get to the spare. And in a lot of minivans, the spare is in the back in the cargo area, but that takes up a lot of space, and we don't have that kind of space. You know, all kinds of junk toys and everything. So here I had to move a lot of stuff because the actual nut to get to the spare tire is in the passenger compartment here below the carpet. Once I got everything moved out of the way, then you start to unscrew the tire. It actually lowers, kind of like an elevator coming down from the floor of the vehicle. And this is where the Magic Creeper comes in. That tire can be heavy. Some of them are full-size spare tires. We have a donut in this case, but in either case, they are heavy and awkward to move from underneath the car. So the Magic Creeper comes in handy. Once you get the tire lowered and get it down to the ground, you can actually use the Creeper as a conveyor belt. Super easy. Pull the tire out, unfasten the nut underneath, and you are on your way to putting on your spare tire. And the Magic Creeper is handy in all kinds of roadside emergencies. Of course, I've mentioned it before, you can use it as a kneeling pad when you need to change your tire on the side of the road. If you need to get under the vehicle, the Creeper stays dry on the top where you are. You keep your clothes nice, and you can maneuver over any terrain better than any regular Creeper, and you have more clearance underneath the car as well. There's also an emergency roadside kit that has all kinds of stuff you need in an emergency. Gloves, rain poncho, flashlights, of course some jumper cables to get you out of trouble. You can find the Magic Creeper at magiccreeper.com, and it's the only place where you can find the authentic one, so check them out there. And it makes a great gift, by the way. You know, Joe, the automobile was invented at the turn of the last century, and over the course of over 100 years, rust is still the enemy. Nobody's really figured out how to address it until now. What are you guys at NHOU doing to combat rust?
In my life, it certainly has been, which was the catalyst for me getting into this business. And rust has been dubbed the longest war. It's really difficult to beat Mother Nature, but what we do is slow her down. And what we do is mainly use an oil-based rust proofing. So if you have a brand new vehicle, we have 2 options, but for now we'll discuss the oil. The oil is something that would go on brand new or use pre-existing rust. It does not encapsulate the rust. That only allows it to grow beneath the surface. It looks pretty. Eventually it comes through. This will actually go down to the good metal, displace moisture, remove oxygen. As long as you have product on your vehicle, you stop oxidation.
Now, if I bring my automobile to you or to an authorized dealer, what happens to the car?
You should clean it before you come in. We would bring it in, we would blow it off. It would take about an hour. We'd apply oil to everything that's exposed in the undercarriage, all your body cavities, your in and out, come back in a year.
Is it safe for my car? Is it safe for the environment?
Our oil is non-conductive. It is environmentally friendly, no solvents, no detergents.
What's the biggest battle you're fighting here? Obviously, we know about rust, but as far as educating the customer.
Cultural.
Yeah.
It's people thinking this through, like proactively, like changing the oil on your vehicle. People don't think about corrosion until it's, it's a failed inspection or they have a structural failure.
Well, you're starting your education here, and if you want to further it, you can check them out at the website, Joe.
NHOUundercoating.com.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. We're glad you came along for the ride. Please come and join us next week. In the meantime, if you have a product you'd like to see on our show, email Jeff at masterstv.com. From our entire crew, we'll see you again next week.